Uh, Hi everyone, a very good evening. I hope you all are having a good Sunday. This is Suvarna Bhosle working as a module lead in quality assurance with Tanmay, of course, is my teammate, is my colleague at Persistent Systems Limited, Verna. As a part of my career, I'm normally involved in quality assurance, as my designation says, and definitely as the topic of today's this um, webinar says, why QA and finding the hidden QA within us. To start with, I think I should first thank the Dev Cluster team to have me here as a speaker on this occasion to talk about the domain QA. And also a big thank you to all of the attendees of this webinar to spend the Sunday evening attending this webinar. So I think without spending any more time, we should go ahead and start the session. I think few things to highlight here would be any y'all if y'all have any points like any questions wherein when the talk is going on or whenever I'm sharing any experiences of mine, y'all can definitely ask me. Y'all can unmute yourselves and raise your doubts, your questions. If y'all feel I'm going too fast, too slow, y'all can even let me know that. I think we can start with the session. Yeah, I'll start with the PowerPoint presentation also. I hope you all can see my screen.
Not yet. Okay, they can see. Maybe mine internet is slow.
Yeah, any of the members here can just let me know if you all can see the PowerPoint presentation.
Yes, we can see.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yeah, to start with, basically, today's topic for discussion, finding the QA hidden within us. I believe most of us here joined today are either like freshers who are just out of college, joined industry, or maybe are in their final years or third year of engineering or the selected chosen careers, meaning the education paths. So to start with, I would focusing on the topic of today's discussion, I would like to first know from y'all what y'all understand basically what QA is. If anyone from the audience can unmute yourself and let me know or share your thinking about what a QA is. What you, from your perspective, what you all think a QA can be, or what is the basic definition or basic full form of a QA?
A QA is a person who finds bugs in a software.
Okay, yes, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, as you said, a QA is a person who finds bug, and finding bugs, the QA word isn't limited to just finding bugs. As we move on, we'll see how what all a QA does, what is the basic things that QA does, and how it can be chosen as a career and all that. So yes, we'll get started. So normally what questions that arise in our minds with respect to QAs and with respect to developments when we are in the final years of our graduation is normally is basically I'll tell you all what QA the full form is. It is the thing is quality assurance. The QA full form means quality assurance or quality engineering. Sometimes it is also termed as QE. And it's the doubts that we have or the questions that we have whether QA or QE is a good career to choose, or how a person can achieve more growth in a QA career, because there are quite a lot of myths and facts that we hear around us to support and to disagree with QA as a career, and a lot of things like that. So in final years of our graduation, we are in that chaos of choosing choosing what career path we want to go ahead with, and it is kind of one of the most difficult tasks for us, because that is where our entire career depends on. And which job position is better, whether software testing is better or whether software development is better, if you all are thinking in terms of entering an IT industry. So to get started with, these are basic questions, and we'll get a clarity on what quality assurance, quality software testing is. Software testing or quality assurance, which both ideally mean the same, is basically a process that starts with the understanding of requirements and continues with document preparation like test plan, test strategy, test cases, test case executions, preparation of test reports, and test summaries. A cycle of process is followed, and it makes the testing task more fruitful. So basically, as one of you all said, QA is finding a bug in a software. So QA is not limited to just finding a bug. It starts with the process of first understanding what the requirements are. Normally, when we are dealing with some client at our institutions, we have certain requirements that our client gives us. And then as a QA, we need to have a proper understanding of what the client is expecting from us. Then we need to have a plan, a strategy, basically, like once the development process is completed, how we are going to test that particular software. So we need to develop a test plan, need to develop strategies to test that particular software. Then comes the stage of test case writing, wherein the test cases, different scenarios are thought about. The test cases are written, keeping in mind all the aspects, all the different thinking that end user may be having, or the client may be having in terms of using that particular software. So all those things need to be made a note of. Then comes the stage, once the development stage is done, comes the stage of execution of those test cases. And once these test cases are executed, we have to, like, we need to prepare the test reports, wherein we have the summary, or we have the analysis wherein what all test cases, test scenarios are failing, what all are passing, then whether the failing test cases need to be handled as a part of the software, whether the failing cases are edge cases, or how priority of them, how fast they need to be fixed. All these kind of things are involved in the test reports and the test summary. So basically, software testing is a process, and it's not just limited to finding a bug in a software. And the ultimate process of software testing is not just to find bug, as we mentioned, but to make the product more qualitative. As a QA, you are contributing to the improvements of the product quality. So say, suppose you are a software developer and you have tested your product to an extent from the developer perspective, and you say your product is ready for to be out in the market now. But then there needs to be some level of verification, uh, executions done to ensure that all the requirements provided to us by the client were satisfied in that software, and the end product that we have developed is a quality one, and there are no like breakpoints in that software. One question I would like to raise here is, like, have you all understood what exactly a QA or a software testing profile means? I think it is clear enough. If you all have any questions, you all can unmute yourself and definitely tell me to pause for a while, and you all can raise it.
And you guys can answer in the group chat also, whether it's a yes or a no.
Yeah, thank you, Tanmay. Yeah, moving ahead, let's see what the common myths in the industry, IT industry, related to choosing software testing or quality assurance as a career comes into picture. Normally, what people commonly say is, anyone can test. Why do we need a special tester or a QA for doing the testing job? Development is a far better job than testing. Then there is myth saying that salaries will be less compared to developers in the industry. Another one saying people who can't code normally choose software testing as a career, or there won't be growth in software testing in future. It is only few years of your career that you flourish enough, and then there is a stagnation stage wherein you don't get to explore more. So let's first understand what quality assurance is, how exactly what all happens in this process, and then I'll help you all get these myths clarified. Okay, so let us understand what software testing is all about. Basic thing is, like as our topic for today says, finding the hidden QA in us. Normally, what we tend to do is something that's a normal human tendency, that whenever a product or anything, any small thing that is given to us, we try to, as a human being, we try to find faults in that product. It is because it maybe we haven't done it, maybe someone else has done it and has offered it to us, and that is the reason we try finding defects in someone else's work. So one basic thing that holds true for quality assurance is finding defects in others' work. If you are a person wherein you have this kind of quality in yourself, like the critical attitude, which it is the basic critical attitude which helps you in software testing. If you like finding faults in someone else's work, software testing, I should say, is a kind of job for you. But same time, you should always remember that the attitude of finding bugs, finding defects in someone else's work should be limited to work and should not affect your relationship with the colleague, or any personal life shouldn't get hampered. Second point here comes to understanding the customer. The basic thing that any industry holds to is like customer is kind of a god, and all that requirements, or all the customer, all those things that a customer needs, wants, our basic job is to satisfy the customer, is to make him happy. So isn't it correct that a good software tester is the one who understands what the customer needs, basically, who studies the market, what is the current thing, what are the latest trends in the market? Because at the end, a QA has to think in with respect to the end user who's currently in the market. Why would any person choose your software? Definitely, it has to have something good, something competitive with the other similar softwares in the market. So the relevant information from the client that you need to gather, like QA is someone who interprets it more in a better way. Ultimately, it is the person who kind of wears the customer's shoes before the end product is into the market. So it is not basically just a mechanical kind of execution wherein you just execute 100 200 test cases, understand the importance of like executing the test cases. Whereas something like understanding the requirements also with respect to the end customer should be important to a QA. Analyzing the results, whatever that after the test case execution follows, also is important. Next comes like building confidence in the product. Or software testing, once software testing is done for the product, you as a person, if you are a quality assurance engineer or a software testing personnel, need to have that confidence in the product. You are the person who says, gives a go ahead for the software. By testing the software and finding bugs, analyzing the product in different perspectives, which helps the product make a better product, thereby it gives you growing confidence with respect to the product that your company or your team has developed. Then comes the phase of deciding the priority, wherein you need to understand like few things, how what priority they must be holding to the customer, how important it must be for the customer to get it satisfied. So such things we need to consider. So what happens is, as a software engineer, most of the time, um, you are also pushed to complete some task ahead and early. What happens is, sometimes development phase at meet due to unclear requirements, due to the to and fro of the requirements, wherein we as a team are asking the clients if this is okay, or whatever we have understood from the requirement phase is correct, is it satisfactory. Although in that phase quite a lot of time at times is wasted, so the development, there is a delay in the development phase, and at the end then there is very little time for the software testing phase to happen. So that time you need to decide on the priority. Ultimately you are the one who are left with at times to actually test the product, but meaning spend quite like lot of time to test the product, but it is your big responsibility of signing the product as tested. So tested is marking the product tested, or the ticket or the task tested, is not just a mere job, it is a huge responsibility. Then comes analyzing data and providing results. Then as I told you all, like software testing is not just limited to executing any test case. You need to understand whether the results are like efficient enough, whether the failures, the passing test cases, the failures need to be like how quickly the failures need to be fixed. All this the results, the data you need to provide to the team, you need to provide to the development team, then generate a metrics and also analyze the product's behavior, the software behavior. Yeah, so let's move on now. So I'll come back to now clarifying the myths. After talking about what quality assurance is all about, I'll come to clarifying the myths. Not everyone can test, right? As normally, the first point I had mentioned was all can test. Why there is a requirement of a special QA? Why to have a special team member just to test when even the developers can test, do the same job? So the basic thing is why not everyone can test. One needs to have a good analytical skill to become a software tester. Now, what is an analytical skill? It's a basic thinking of how the product can work, how the product can satisfy the customer, the end user, how the product, in what all ways the software can break. Like it is no, the first thought of a software tester is normally like how to break into the product. Like whatever skills you have, you just apply thought processes, different thinking, different ideas you apply, and then you think about it and you try to break the product so that it is strong enough in the testing phase, in the development phase before going into the market. So you need to be a good at communication also, because once you have found a bug, in order to report it, in order to convince it, in order to convince the dev team like how important it is to fix that particular bug, definitely we need to have some good communication skills. At times you need to also tell the developers like what are the steps to be followed in order to replicate or maybe reproduce that issue that you have found or the bug that you have found. Because at times what happens, you must have followed some different out of the way steps to find out that bug, which developer may have no clue about. So those are the ways wherein communication skills come into picture. So it's not just like anyone can test. Then coming to the point where salary thing matters. People say that devs are paid higher packages, QAs are paid lesser packages in industry. I feel that also doesn't hold true, because salary may be less when you start with your career, which I think holds true for most of the careers. But experienced testers are earning the same level of package compared to the developers. And at times there are industries wherein who are paying much more salaries to automation testers compared to developers. Now here comes the question, what is an automation tester? Anyone has any idea how different an automation tester and a normal tester is?
Automation tester is a tester who automates test cases using various tools like Java Selenium or maybe IBM's own proprietary ones, etc.
Yes, definitely. You have like hit the right point. Yeah, yes. Software testing is basically nowadays in industry, it is not limited to the mere manual test case execution, manual test case writing. It isn't limited to that anymore. It has moved on to the new phase of automation testing, wherein multiple tools are used. There are various tools depending on the requirement of your software, requirement of your project, at times the requirement of the client also, because there are certain tools which may be open source, there are certain tools which are paid. So depending on how flexible the client is to spend, or okay to spend on the paid tools, not okay to spend on automation, depending on that we decide on what tools can be used, and then comes into picture the automation testers. Then further comes the myth, like the industry wherein it is normally said that people who can't code tend to be software testers, which is again wrong. Just now, as Anish mentioned, uh, automation tester is basically who automates test cases. Now, what is automates? There was a time wherein there were only record and play tools available for automation testing, but now the phase has changed. It is an automation age wherein people code to automate the scripts. And coding definitely can be done in various technologies. It's not limited to any specific technology as well. Now, speaking about the growth as a software tester in the industry, people say that in the start there is a limited growth, and towards start there is quite a lot of growth, but then that goes limiting towards as your years of experience increases, which again is doesn't hold true, because I'll, like in brief, I'll tell you all what happens actually in industry. You join as a software tester, normally like around in 3-4 years of experience, or maybe say 5-6 years of experience, depending on how the company has the promotion policy. You tend to become a test lead, wherein you have your subordinates working for you, helping you out in your getting your tasks achieved and all those things. Then comes the project lead phase. Project lead phase, wherein you are held responsible for an entire project, including the testing team and the development team. There are things like automation architecture to be built. So you have roles like automation architect, wherein the entire framework for automation required for any project needs to be built. Now, using certain tool doesn't mean just pick up, download some tool, and get started with it. It doesn't work that way. So you need to have a proper framework built depending on the requirement of your project. So definitely there is a role of automation architect that comes into picture. Then test managers are there definitely, but what we observe as being a part of industry is ultimately everyone reaches to the manager level. It is not that once your team lead or test lead is reached, you can't grow any further. It isn't limited to that. So these, I hope these myths, in the common myths in the industry, are quite clarified. If you all have any doubts right now, you all can ask before we proceed ahead. I guess there are no doubts. You all can send your message in the chat window also, in case you all feel, or you all don't have mics, or you all feel odd asking it in between. You all can send it on the chat also, as Tanmay mentioned. Okay, let's go ahead then.
So, Varna, I had a question.
Yeah, please let me.
Sorry, I got late. I just wanted to know, is it important to write test cases and then test?
Yes, this is a good question actually. Normal test procedure, like the testing phase, needs to have a proper plan, proper execution of all the stages in testing life cycle. SDLC, what we call as the STLC, the software testing life cycle. So in normal cases, it is ideal to write test cases and then execute them. But at times, like even in my career, I have come across projects wherein there are so hard and fast deadlines that there is no time to write test cases. You
Yeah.
fall short of time so much that you don't have time to spend on literally writing those test cases and then executing them. So in such
Exactly.
cases, what you can do is, you can just, to make sure that you don't miss on the areas of execution, you can just make a, since you are a software tester in the team, uh, software tester normally is a person who has the maximum knowledge of the software. So
Yes.
the you can make pinpoints, you can note down the areas wherein that you need to like glance over or test over those areas, because if the product is already built and it's not a in process building product, you can obviously make note of those areas. But the other way around, if it is in, like, the software is newly being built, you need to test all areas. So depending on what domain that software belongs to, you can have your certain set of test cases in mind. As a QA engineer or QA tester, you may have certain set of test cases which you normally execute. So it is better to make sure that you test, as a tester, you make sure that there is no degradation in the quality of the software that is released into the market. But there is no hard and fast rule that you have to write test cases and then execute them. At times I have come across my colleagues wherein while in the go, like, they find, okay, this test case is not giving me failures, so that means that there are areas where there are more scenarios wherein this area may be failing. So that person, during testing only, he comes across new scenarios. So it is not a hard and fast rule that you have to write test cases, but it all depends on the project requirements. Normally what happens is, like, for example, the project I work for, we have a uh, audits cycle that happens, and for audit purposes, as a organization, we need to follow certain rules. So we have a procedure that unless we write test cases, we do not execute them. So say tomorrow our team audit is going on, and then we need to show that we are following proper standards, proper procedures, all QA standards are followed, all the areas are looked into when any area is touched upon by the developers. So there is a process which we follow, and in such cases you have to write test cases. But you are in a deadline wherein the getting out of the software ready is more important than writing test cases, then definitely you can skip on that test case writing phase, not the execution phase. But then definitely you can save some time in writing test cases and then execute them without writing.
Yeah.
I hope I
Yeah.
have
Thanks.
answered your question. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So now coming to like, as a speaker, you all must be wondering, okay, yeah, she's speaking everything about quality assurance. So she must have started her career as a QA engineer, and now she's happy with that. So she's speaking everything in terms of quality assurance. Let me be very honest, this is not true. I had started my career around 6 years, 6.5 years back, as a developer who was hired for automating test cases. I was, as a fresher, I was hired as a developer to automate test cases. And what I found was around 6, 7 months, since there were that automation thing was quite new in the company. There were not many developers or QAs who had existing QAs who had a knowledge. So they wanted a developer to help them in writing those test cases, and that was my job in the company. So I spent around like 6 months, 6 to 7 months, and then we hired some new freshers after in the from the new batch. We had a training session for them, like how to code, how to write test cases, how to automate them. We were using at that time we were using tool called as Watin. We had the project was in .NET. Not many, maybe you all may have an idea of Watin or .NET technology as well. But later on we moved to Selenium. So that is one of the tools in automation testing. So basically it started there. Then the training process for the new freshers was completed. They had a kind of, they were ready for the automation test script writing phase. And then I was moved to since I was hired as a developer, I was moved to the typical development role. Now coming to the development role, I don't know if it was, I should say it was fortunately or unfortunately, the project I was placed in was more of a support kind of project. Now, many of you all must be wondering what support project is. Normally, what happens if in an industry, if a client is there who is already established in the industry, but he needs people to develop some new features to the existing product, or maybe here and there, maybe resolve issues of the end customers they are having. So, such kind of product is normally called as a support kind of product, wherein like the development of the software is not done from the scratch in the company. It is developed maybe by someone else, or maybe the owning company itself, the software owning company itself, but they need someone to handle it, handle the customer request at times, or maybe here and there develop new features to the existing product. So I was in that kind of project. I spent around 2 years in that project, wherein slowly, initially, it looked quite exciting because I had that thing in mind that developer role is something a very glamorous role compared to software, some quality assurance, software testing, and so I'm in a good role, I thought, and I said, okay, let's continue with this. But then slowly, as I progressed, what I found was there was, for me in that project, there was very little scope of learning. As a IT professional, or as any professional in the industry, you should always think about your growth curve as well. Salary is not the only thing that you should be worried about. Say tomorrow you want to even if you're thinking about salary, why would why you all think any company should hire you, and should hire you when you are compared to the same level of person who is answering maybe the interview? Why you should be the chosen one? So definitely you need to have that X factor for you being chosen for that particular project or that particular company, and being offered the salary you ask for. So for these purposes, definitely the growth curve in the industry, your personal growth curve also matters. So what I found that time was, I was very like 2.5 years of experience is not much to decide where your career is going to go ahead and all that. But then somewhere I had that thing in mind that I'm not having that growth curve, because the job that I kind of did was more of a patchwork kind of job, wherein I had to, somewhere some issue was found, I had to just fix that issue, work on some small code, um, work on some small feature that maybe came once in 6 months, something like that. So it was, the learning curve was very less. And then I started kind of missing my old profile of automating test cases, because I had a liking towards coding. At the same time, the type of work that I did, I liked it. So then I spoke to my manager, I requested him that if there is any vacancy in the company, in any other project, or maybe in any way I could do better in, I thought I could do better in that kind of profile. So I requested him. Then after around 2-3 months of waiting, they allowed me to switch back to automation testing. Then automation testing, yes, definitely some companies do have only automation testers as well. But then there comes a phase wherein not all projects that you are given to handle, you may end up doing only automation. So definitely there came a curve wherein I got my hands on manual testing as well. So there was nothing like I first chose quality assurance, and then I continued with it. Nothing of that sort happened. But then, why at that time? Why did I choose? Because I had liking towards certain things that were associated with quality assurance. Coming to, like, let's move. Like, we'll just go through few details, like why I continued or I chose quality assurance as career. I'll just highlight few points. One, as I mentioned, QA is not a mere bug finder or a mere tester. He needs to have logical thinking capability. He needs to think, look at the product in different perspective. So the love for solving logical puzzles, kind of love for thinking in different perspectives, kept me engaged in that software testing profile. It's not that after moving on to automation testing, I always found a project in automation testing only. No, there came phases wherein I had to do complete manual plus automation testing in certain projects as well. So testing is a kind of solving a logical puzzle, wherein we will be given a software which will go straight into the market. If we say a yes and give a thumbs up for that project, and no bugs in software testing phase are found. We as QA are the protectors at the gateway. Say suppose anything goes wrong in the production, the first pointer that is raised, how it got missed in the QA phase. That is the first question, and we are the people who are supposed to be answerable for these questions. So we should ensure that there is no bug leakage or no such software defect leakage happening in the production. So we not only find bugs, but we break into the system as well in terms of stress testing. So now many of you all may not be aware of stress testing, but just to brief you all, uh, uh, software testing is not limited to just manual test case execution. There are multiple ways in which a software can be tested. First is the functionality testing. That is the basic step that we perform just to check whether the required functionalities are working properly. Then there is a stress testing, wherein whether certain load is handled by the project software or not. So there are multiple things. Yes, Anish, you want to share your thoughts about this? Hello. Yeah, I think I'll go ahead. Yeah. So there are various ways of testing. There is something called as performance testing, wherein the performance of the software, like how efficient it is, that is tested at times. There are different levels. Regression testing is done when a project is already into the market and there are certain new features added to the project. Just to ensure that the old features are not broken, we perform regression testing, wherein the entire testing phase is done to ensure that none other areas are broken because of the newly implemented areas. So there are various types of testing. Then second thing that comes into picture is love for helping others. You should consider yourself that as a QA, you are doing the best of your capability in releasing a quality product into the market. We can help in finding bugs which are hidden in the software. Even though developers do their best to release a good quality product, there will be some areas in the software which they might overlook. At times what happens is, uh, it's a normal human tendency. What we develop, what we do, we feel it's correct enough until someone else examines, assesses, finds fault, until someone else tells us that something has gone wrong somewhere. So we have that one sided thinking that yes, this I have implemented, so this must be working fine. I just do a brief check whether, but then multiple scenarios, who is going to think about is someone who is a QA engineer. The developer will be busy with his development level testing, his development of the code, and then he'll hand over the software to a quality assurance team. I have come across my friends like who are in certain projects wherein there is no QA at all, but then their experience as developers in those teams has always been like they wish they had a QA, because at the end there are certain bugs in the software, in the product that is released in production, which they never thought when they had developed that feature. They come across, or maybe the end users report it, and that is the reason they come across and they end up fixing it. But this, not every project has this. This at times depends on the clients. So clients, whether he's willing to pay extra for the QA engineers or whether he's not, depending on that, it is decided. Then to love, for the love to take up challenges. In many projects, what we need is, sometimes what happens due to lack of time or certain deadlines, uh, ta- uh, we as a team, we do not even have specification documents, the requirement documents. So that is the time when it's a big challenge to explore the system and find out the bugs, because we don't know how it should be actually working. But then as an end user perspective, we need to think and we need to find bugs in the product. Domain knowledge is definitely one of the biggest challenges that a QA faces. What happens is, as a QA, you cannot say you are limited to only one domain. What is a domain now? uh, just to brief you all, domain basically means, now for example, we have Flipkart, Amazon. These kind of applications belong to e-commerce domain. We have banking applications which belong to like banking domain. So there are certain education softwares which belong to the education domain. So these are certain domains. But as a software tester, you cannot say that I have the expertise of testing only in certain domain. You need to uh, today you have this project, tomorrow you may be placed in some other company wherein the domain is completely new. So that is the time when the challenge is faced by the QA, where to adjust, to think about, to have the various um, uh, mindset to look at the new domain project. Then we as that explore do we as testers do explore the system and struggle to understand in finding the bugs and getting the report them to fix. Getting the bugs fixed from the developers is also our responsibility, because end of the day, the delivering a quality product into the market is our basic responsibility, along with the whole team, definitely, but it is our basic responsibility. Now, talking about automation tester, yes, for since I had the liking towards writing code too, your automation testing for me was convenient enough. And as we say that only people who cannot automate end up becoming software testers, it doesn't hold true, because one who is an automation tester definitely knows coding as well. So as an automation tester, we basically write code to find the bugs in the system and involving in delivery and of quality product. What happens is, certain times you need to, basically automation is done in products wherein you need to run that test case again and again. For example, there is a product which is already developed and available in the market, and say you execute some certain test case. Next time you feel, okay, this test case I had executed last time, no, none of the developers has touched that area, so it must be working fine, is what you end up thinking due to the lack of time. But that is not the case. Either you need to manually execute it, and just to uh, reduce the effort of manually executing it, we may automate the test case, so that the next time we just run the test suite and we have whether that test case has passed or failed. So again, coding is not limited to any specific language. You all have expertise, you all have liking towards any specific language like Java, C Sharp, Python. You all can code an automation test case in any language. Again, we have a huge variety in automation tools as well, depending on the project and the software that we are releasing into the market, depending on the client requirements, whether he's okay with buying a paid software or is looking for an open source one. Depending on that, we have a lot of variety in automation tools as well. So you basically get to learn more and more tools, which builds up a stronger profile. The more and more tools you are aware of, you learn to use, your profile is more and more stronger. So it is not just limited to manual testing. Then yes, definitely I love to interact with people. As a QA, I get a lot of opportunities to interact with people, just not my team members or peers, even with the stakeholders. At times, there are certain meetings wherein developers may be considered secondary to be involved in the meeting, whereas QA is considered as primary along with the managers, because QAs are the people who look at the product with different perspectives. So during the meeting itself, you all have hundreds of questions to ask the client or the stakeholder, like in this case, how you expect it to be working and all those kind of things. So we need to discuss with the clients to get more information on the domain knowledge. And this way we could meet many people to share our knowledge with. Definitely testers need to know all the parts of the applications. You won't like believe, or maybe you may believe also, but testers are the team members who know the most of the software. Developers at times, what happens is, say there are four developers, one is good in one area, the other one in some other areas. Normally when tasks come up, managers or testers will say that
Hello, can everyone hear? Shalaka?
Yes, yes.
Okay, you can hear.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
Is is Suvarna online?
No.
Okay, okay, fine. Must be having some connection issues. We'll wait for her.
Yeah. Okay, she's
I
back.
thought it's yeah, I thought it was my connection that was bad.
She's back.
Yeah.
am I audible now?
Yes, Suvarna, you were explaining about um, last part that I heard was you were talking about how the QA is taken inside with the managers.
Yeah. So yeah,
And
just there was another point that I discussed. The last point that I discussed was it is the love to be in a team wherein quality products are delivered, and which just not only makes the customer happy, which makes the customer delightful also. So as a QA, I have shared my experience with you guys as to, I hope the earlier questions that normally any student in the final years or the starting years or the refreshers in industry have regarding software testing. I hope these are cleared kind of with the session that we had today. Just before I wrap up, does anyone of y'all have any question for me?
you can unmute yourself and ask your doubts, or you can ask in the group chat also.
Okay, if y'all don't have any questions, I think I'll ask a question. What do you all think is the takeaway from today's session that we had? Maybe someone can just briefly share their experience or share their viewpoints. Anyone would like to come up?
You can just unmute yourself and speak. I have muted everyone currently. Anish, you had asked a lot of questions. Do you have anything to say?
Yeah, it's breaking the stereotype of the test engineers. Like usually we are thought to be like people with less experience, but I think people today, I mean now after this session, they will think otherwise.
Yeah. And are you a fresher or are you a working professional? How, what exactly, like which domain do you belong
Uh,
to?
yeah, I actually had done my course in this testing only.
Uh-huh.
I'm a fresher, but due to some circumstances, I could not get to work at my place. So I came back. I had gotten a job in Pune. I was in Pune, but due to this all coronavirus situation, I came
Okay,
back,
yeah, yeah, that I
and
do
I'm still
understand.
looking for a job now.
Okay, yeah. I think just to motivate you, don't get disappointed with the current situation that you're facing. Definitely, there is a big scope for all that you have studied and all the course that you have attended. I'm just
Yeah,
hoping that after this session, you find a new way, new like a new path to go ahead and explore the career that you have already chosen. And I wish you
yeah,
all
I'm
the very
going.
best.
That's what. Yeah, I'm giving my interviews. Let's see now.
Yeah, all the very best for the interviews. You can reach me anytime in case you need any help with respect to preparation for interviews, with respect to getting through any interviews or any thing that I can help you with. I'll share my
Yeah, thank you,
email
thank you.
ID. You can reach me through that.
Cool,
Yes,
cool. Thank you.
anyone else would like to ask anything before we wind up?
Suvarna,
Yes, please go ahead.
uh, yeah, I wanted to ask, what kind of courses are there for QAs to explore?
Okay. Are you looking for your courses into manual testing or are you looking for courses into automation testing?
Both.
Okay. Are you a working professional who has hands-on experience on normal functional testing?
Yes.
Okay. If I want to share my experience about the courses that you can take up in manual testing, then maybe you can take up performance testing courses, API testing courses. Then there can be stress testing, APIs, stress testing, and performance testing courses. With respect to automation, I think there is a huge. What kind of project do you work on? Like in which language is it developed or which technology?
Currently, the React and JavaScript.
Okay. I'll
Yeah.
share my recent experience with respect to React and JavaScript projects. There is a tool which has like recently come into the market and is being appreciated by maximum of the automation testers. That is something called as Cypress, Cypress. That is considered to be one of the emerging automation tools. I think you can take up a test course. If you do you have experience in Selenium or any of the automation tools?
No.
Okay, then you can, I think you can get started with Cypress directly. You don't need to have any course attended in Selenium or any of the different tools. You can get started with Cypress. The reason I'm insisting you on this tool is because it's the latest tool with which is being appreciated, hugely appreciated, like the and it hopefully it will overcome Selenium in years to come. So that is one of the tools that I would recommend to for you as a self learning course that you can take up.
Why do you recommend Cypress more than Selenium?
Yeah, exactly. So Selenium is the like the boss currently.
Right,
So
right
how
now
is
it's
it
the
better
gold
than
standard,
Selenium?
and everybody uses Selenium for automated testing. So
Yeah,
why would
Yes,
you recommend
definitely.
Cypress?
No, see, to be very honest, actually, I have been a Selenium automation tester for around, I think, 4.5 years now. And the recent evolution that I'm seeing in the, have you like gone through the Cypress documentation or the Cypress videos by any chance? I have recently started with learning Cypress as a tool. And what I found was, yes, Selenium definitely has a huge base, which, and there is a huge query support also that is provided on internet. There are a lot of positives of Selenium. I'm not saying that Cypress is a better tool. I'm just saying that it can, in the evolving year, now in the years to come, Cypress may overcome Selenium because of the new features that they are developing. And if you go to see, like, if you, I don't know if you have already gone through Cypress as a tool, but me as a Selenium automation tester, I am genuinely feeling that Cypress may be the new future of automation testing. And one thing that I have noticed is the React projects and the latest, for example, I work in a e-commerce domain wherein we are trying to, like, we may be integrating our product with something called a Shopify, the third party tool. And certain things there are there wherein Cypress is found to be more beneficial over Selenium. So that is my personal point of view, that in coming years, maybe Cypress may overtake Selenium. Yes, definitely there has been a huge requirement and everything with regards to Selenium in the current industry.
But is it as versatile as Selenium in the context of languages that it supports?
See, yeah, actually, Selenium supports, as far as I am aware of, around 4 languages. Right now, since Cypress is an emerging tool, doesn't have the versatility in terms of language. But in case you are a person who's already having the automation experience, or even if you're getting started with the getting started with Cypress isn't at all difficult.
Okay, I see.
No, but more than that, since you have been using Selenium, what I would like to ask is what are the shortcomings that you're facing for Selenium, and how is Cypress, according to you, going to perform better in those scenarios?
Okay. To answer your question, actually, it won't be shortcomings as such. There are workarounds with every problem that we face in any automation tool. But then the workarounds or the whatever code fixes that we are putting right now, they are just kind of workarounds. But Cypress has certain things like weights and all. There are inbuilt weights. We need not put the separate implicit, explicit weights to be very specific to mention that area of weights. Cypress has it inbuilt. We don't have to specifically specify that weights. So there are certain features wherein maybe I can share one document with you all, wherein why Selenium and Cypress, the comparison between two, the choosing of Cypress over Selenium, why it is advantageous. That may help you all to get an overview of. And if you're talking in terms in terms of experience, if you all are like looking for a lot of opportunities, then definitely, since Cypress is not yet vastly used in industries, currently Selenium is the tool which is being vastly used. Along with Selenium, definitely there is another tool called as Renorex, which again comes with a record and play and coding functionality. But then, since it is a paid tool, not many industries recommend, or not many clients recommend using that tool. But then, since Cypress is also an open source and it's a latest one, I don't recommend. It's not a. It's a suggestion that if anyone is going ahead with something, wants to learn something new, why not start with something which is freshly, like which is uh, emerging in the market, which may have new openings too. Selenium, since it is already being used by quite a lot of industries, that may give you many opportunities in answering interviews, getting through, cracking interviews in different various industries.
Right. Any other questions besides Cypress versus Selenium? Regarding Swarna's experience, or right? I think someone asked. couple of y'all already asked her about recommendations, but about anything else about how the field works or something.
Any students want to ask any questions about?
Yeah, what I noticed was only freshers asking questions. So honestly, when I was a student, we were just told that QA is just poke holes in software, and if you have a good analytical skills, that is what you should go for. But we weren't. I had no idea that QAs have taken active part in the development and planning process, also the design phase, because they are the ones who discuss the exact requirements with the client and uh, give us those requirements. They clarify it with the client, and whenever we code anything, the QAs always ask us, is this confirmed with the client? Because as Swarna mentioned, they think about the overall quality of the product, not just the bug. So yeah, anyone else? You can ask in group chat. Has anyone asked? No. Okay.
Suvarna,
Yeah.
yeah, since no one is asking, I think I'll only poke. Um,
Yeah, go ahead.
how is your interaction with designers in a given project?
You mean the UI UX designers?
Yes.
Yes. Actually, what happens is at times, since our product is more used on Mac machines like Safari, it's been vastly used. And here in our organization, we normally tend using we know the clients end users normally use Chrome and Safari, and they end up using Mac. Since our client is a US one, they end up using the product is usually on Mac or iOS phones. But not everyone and not every project can afford such devices. So at times our biggest difficulty in the team is to find the bugs or to find the UI issues in the various browsers, various devices, various machines. So that is the time what happens is just verifying those UI elements on one particular device doesn't satisfy your need. You need to check on various machines. So whenever we find a bug, the developer UI UX developers are very specific. Especially the one in our team, she's very specific. Like be very specific which browser it is not working, which version of the browser it is not working, which version of Windows it is not working. So at times it becomes difficult. But then I think fortunately the UI UX designer that we have in our team like puts the 98% of the effort in getting all the UI issues fixed, and she like kind of somehow we have to struggle with that 2% and find like somehow struggle to find bugs and report it to her. So I think we should consider ourselves lucky enough in our team wherein UI UX issues are very low in numbers. But I think they are very specific to the device related issues. They We use something called as Sauce Labs for multiple device testing, UI testing especially. So that is the point wherein we come across, and the moment we find bug, also they kind of tend showing us on their machine saying that it's not replicating. Then we need to provide the versions, the device specifications, everything. So that is the only thing. Otherwise, I feel we are lucky enough to have a good UI UX designer in our team.
Okay. Thank you.
Does that answer your question, Shalaka?
Yeah, kind of. So I just wanted to understand how you work with a UI UX designer.
Yeah,
Well,
normally
like
what
from
happens
the
is,
beginning of a project till the end.
yeah, okay. What happens in our project is when the requirements are shared by the client. Normally, we have the screens ready, which are given by the client themselves. So, depending on the mobile and the web screens, the UI UX designer makes the necessary changes Yeah,
Oh.
definitely she performs the unit testing for those particular screens and hands it over to the QA team. That is how the normal working goes ahead. I guess during the unit testing phase, she makes sure that the areas are working fine in all the devices. There are it becomes at times very difficult to actually break through the UI part of the software that we develop.
Okay. Okay.
So I
Yeah.
think the most challenging part is multiple device and multiple browser testing when it
Yeah.
comes to UI. Yeah,
Yeah, I've seen, I faced the similar issues. Different screen sizes and resolutions
exactly.
cause
Yeah.
a lot of havoc in UI.
Correct. Yeah. And at times there are certain things which maybe the client is getting and you're not able to reproduce it in any of the
Yes,
machines, any of the devices which you have.
yes, yes.
You need to collaborate with the client then to give asking him for specifications and other details. Yeah, those are the challenging times at times. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. You.
If there are no more questions, I think we can wrap up.
Yes.
Anyone? So I'll just wait for a bit more in case anyone has any questions. Okay, right.
Yes.
So, Varna,
I think
for the
before
wonderful.
Tanmay, I would first like to thank the entire Dev Cluster team for having me as a speaker for the event, and definitely all the joinees for this session. Thank you everyone for spending this Sunday evening in a session which I hopefully think in some way is helpful to choose or make any decisions with regards to your careers.
Uh, Yes, thanks, Varna. You've covered a lot of questions that every student has about the field, and you've even mentioned about the X factor that students always feel that, okay, so one thing that I've always noticed is people say that, okay, I'm not getting a job interview or something, but not to discredit them, but many of them just feel that, okay, a job interview is guaranteed, a job is guaranteed for everyone who sits for an interview. But it's not just the case. It's not nothing like that. You need to show that you are different from the other candidates. You need to prove to the client that you are worth hiring. So I think I touched upon that point also, and which was a good thing. Besides that, yes, thanks for everything. You gave a very detailed mind, a very detailed understanding of the mindset of a QA, both from the poking holes in the code side and the quality side. So thanks, Varna.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you, everyone.